It's time for Milberger's Gardening, South Texas. Live from Milberger's Landscaping and Nursery at 1604 in Bulverde Road. During the next 2 hours, our experts will help you with your gardening questions when you call 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. Or come by Milberger's during the show and have your question answered in person. And now it's time for Milberger's Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Milberger's Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. Inside today, it's another cold one, another cold snap that we have for this weekend.
Yes, I was in the car looking across the parking lot, seeing if you were outside or not, because that means I would have to put on, several more layers of clothing.
You can't fool us. You were wondering if you were going to turn around and head out.
No. So, yeah, it's delightful out there, though.
It is, and if you have an opportunity to come out, there was a bit of an impromptu blood drive going on with South Texas Blood and Tissue today. It's going on from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., so if you come out, walk-ins are available. Again, that's the South Texas Blood and Tissue. The Bloodmobile is out here doing a blood drive. So if you can come out, donate some blood, that'd be greatly appreciated. If you can brave this cold.
Do they give us cookies anymore? They used to give us cookies.
No, I know. I used to tease about in the old days when you went to give blood, you got homemade cookies.
Yeah, I remember.
That was the tradition that whoever was sponsoring would. Their staff would put together some cookies, and so that ended a long time ago. I guess.
Okay.
But maybe there's some places where that happens.
I'm sure they provide you with something after you provide. the blood.
you get a gift certificate from Milberger's.
Oh, a $10 gift certificate to Milberger's is what you'll receive, and from what the Milberger's website says. Also, a long sleeve shirt as well.
A long sleeve shirt?
A long sleeve shirt. But, yes, a South Texas Blood and Tissue shirt.
Oh, okay. And not the shirt off their backs.
No.
Oh, okay. That would be really giving.
Yes, they're out here until 3 p.m. Walk-ins are available. Walk-ins are welcome.
Where are they located?
They're located...
In the back?
In the back.
Okay. So the second entrance...
Plenty of parking right by it.
Plenty of parking.
Second entrance off the access road, and just turn in there.
Absolutely. Give us a call at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. Calvin, I want to, from what y'all were talking about, your article seems pretty interesting this weekend.
Oh, gosh, yeah. We have a lot of topics we could talk about. If you hadn't noticed, there was some freeze out there.
There was.
Freezing temperatures, and it affected a lot of plants. But, of course, it worked pretty much as we predicted. Mm-hmm. The pansies and snapdragons looked kind of dismal right after the freeze left, but then a day later, other than the blooms, the foliage is looking good, and they're already starting to respond. But of course, now we're going to get another
one tonight.
Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And the cyclamen did fine. If those that I covered with just one layer of that Mark's Insulate, that's what it took. That's all it took, and they did well. Some of those that were kind of closest to the edges, the top blooms, some were damaged. But that layer under the leaves of buds seemed to do real fine. Now the problem is I pulled the coverings off of everything, and so
it got sunny. So
yeah.
So.
And I was kind of interested in seeing how everything turned out. But then I got when everything looked good, I said, "Oh my Lord, I don't know if I'm going to take a chance on if we're going to get 25 degrees again." So I went and put
that would never happen.
Yeah, I went and put my coverings back, but not nearly with the care and the sturdiness that I had originally. But I'm hoping that the freeze period is going to be relatively short. You know what really showed a lot of damage, Mark, that surprised me a little bit, is the vegetables, the greens. You know, the only one that really looks like it didn't get affected at all was, to me, it was Brussels sprouts. Oh, the spinach didn't have any problem.
Yeah. Brussels
sprouts, onions. They're pretty fair. They look like the kind of the pansies, but they'll recover. But any of those things like broccoli, cauliflower that had their fruits, their heads on there, they didn't fare well in my garden. They got a lot of damage, and that is consistent too. That's one of the reasons why we like to encourage everybody to keep them harvested, not leave, because they don't have the same cold tolerance when they're loaded with broccoli heads or cauliflower.
Yeah, I always consider cauliflower a little more sensitive. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
comparing the two, broccoli and cauliflower, I consider them a little bit more sensitive, and I would make sure I'd harvest.
But usually, you do a little bit of pruning, and you'll find some stems, especially under the top surface. You'll find some that are looking pretty good without much damage, and so you take off those damaged areas, and they should perk up,
right,
and go and do well. Some of those that are really cabbage wasn't affected much, but even though Swiss chard got pretty flat, and anything that really has a relatively thin green foliage and really asserts itself,
right?
They get flattened.
A thin stem and a thin leaf.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, and of course it's potato planting time. I know a lot of folks who are like me and got their potatoes planted just before the freeze got there, and hopefully that they're if the seed potatoes are under the soil, they're fine, and the onions, as we mentioned, should do all right. What surprised me too, though, was like the rutabaga tops, the foliage on rutabaga and turnips really got blasted. So, any other reports out there, gardeners, with if you had a little different experience than what we're reporting here, or that you got some questions? We'd be interested in hearing how your garden fared in that cold weather.
Absolutely. Give us a call at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. And from what I'm seeing, the lows tonight getting down to 25.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Do we know how many hours it's supposed to be in
Let's see.
Low 32?
Might be a couple of hours from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Probably about.
Well, I already turned off my phone.
Probably about 6, I suppose.
Yeah.
At least. It's about 47.
Well,
now.
now it's going to get to 57 tomorrow.
About 8 or 9 hours tonight. About 8 or 9 hours tonight of below freezing.
That'll be a pretty serious visit by cold weather.
But after that, there's no predicted freezing in the near future.
That's right. It's pretty close on Monday, but then the rest of the week it's going to be in the 40s, low 40s.
And unfortunately, no precipitation.
No precipitation. I was looking forward to that. They had, I think, a low on Wednesday of 50, and or thereabouts. And I was like, "Oh, it sounds like a front moving in." Mm-hmm. Looked at it, no, no water associated with that. So it goes on.
Yeah. Well,
the hunt for rain goes on.
We'll be able to talk more about the freeze damage as the show proceeds. Another thing, which Alex and I had checked out, you know how many people have enrolled for the class already?
No, we were getting close for here.
Yeah, 37 so far.
Okay.
And so we'll accommodate, we can accommodate quite a number for the lecture, but what we, potting up class, we'll, the one here at Millburgers on the 21st at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, I think we'll make sure we have 30 of the pole big rodeo tomatoes potted up, fertilized in number 1 containers, and they should, as long as we keep them in the warm area, and the weather stays warm, they should put some real growth on, so that you can, if you get one at the event, it can stay in the container for 3 weeks or so more if you want. April 1st is always a good target to put it in the garden or in your big container. I always like and put one of the topics that we always talk about in the potting up tomato class is growing tomatoes and peppers in containers. They both work really well in containers. Now, but I always 5 gallon is the minimal size. I always like a 15 gallon.
We had many a question. A radio listener going, "Yeah, I have a 5 gallon or I have a 3 gallon." I'm like, no, add a 0 on.
Yeah, 3 gallon works for about 2 weeks, and then it gets. And what the problem with those smaller containers are that you don't have much of a soil reservoir, and then a well-fertilized tomato plant that's got fruit on it is top heavy.
Yeah.
So you want a pretty substantial container. So if you got a 15 gallon, that's even 10.
That's good.
10 would be minimal, I think.
Yeah, in my opinion, 10 is minimal.
Yeah.
I would rather have you 15 or even 20.
Yeah. Well, half whiskey barrels work pretty well. Especially those plastic containers. So that is one of the situations that we have. Well, now we still have the other class. I'm trying to ignore this as my phone is ringing here.
Okay.
I'll have to.
I thought it was the music. I was going, that seems too soon for the break. Okay. But anyway. So the other class.
Yeah, the 28th. We got plenty of room in there. We've been getting enrollment, but that class is at the Education Resource Center in over by Medical Center. It's 6802 Dorothy Louise Drive. If you're familiar with the Medical Center area, Babcock, the Education Resource Center is right close. It's right off of Babcock on Dorothy Louise there. And that's the neighborhood is a nonprofit corporation, and they just built the new Education Resource Center. And that's where this class will be. And then, of course, last year there were a bunch of classes too. But that is on Saturday the 28th, and that one will be at 10 a.m. It'll start a little earlier, so I've got an opportunity to make it back to the radio show, finish the lecture by 11, distribution of the potted tomatoes. We also try to show potting up. We'll mostly have the tomatoes ready for folks to take, but we'll have a demonstration on how we pot them up, including the fertilization and the soil that's used, and then especially here at Millburgers, they'll have all the rodeo tomatoes, including the new.
Well, some of the new one as well as the old one.
Oh gosh, they look. The greenhouse is loaded with
I'll have to go in the
tycoons and celebrities and Ruby Crushes and all of our favorite past rodeo tomatoes are be available too. But they need to be potted up, and so. But a lot of the attendees decide to get a few more. Maybe they'll probably get a few more of the current rodeo tomato, but they also have some favorites. We all have favorites, and that's the time to get them because it's a short growing season and a limited number of tomato plants and. Especially of the favorite varieties, and you want to get them to grow as fast as possible, and so that's why we pot them up, and so that we can we can escape from the cold weather if it shows up, and then get them into the garden and get a maximum production. They're usually determinate or semi-determinate, so which means that they grow to full size quickly and concentrate on setting fruit. And so that's what it's about. But so I didn't mention the phone number for the... Did you of course, you remembered it, Alex, right? Because you're so young.
Yes, for the one at the Resource Center.
Yeah.
Yes, the number to sign up is 210-382-4455.
Cool.
Yes.
He did remember.
I just remember the last 4 digits, so I'm half.
And what that means is we talk about having the first 35 will be guaranteed the potted up tomatoes, but more attendees are welcome to the lecture. And in fact, it's kind of a secret, but we normally can accommodate 40 at each class with the potted up tomato. If everything works perfect, we get the transplants that we're counting on. In fact, they should be here next Saturday, and then our volunteers pot most of them up, and they'll be ready for the classes.
So even if the classes do fill up relatively quick, you still encourage people to come out? Absolutely?
Yeah. I told the staff here that they can encourage, if they get more phone calls, they can say, well, can't guarantee you'll get a tomato, but we got room for you at the lecture. Or they can suggest that there's still open seats at the Educational Resource Center. So if that's convenient, or they've got the time to go to the medical center location, they can get the lecture, the handouts, and also a free potted up tomato. So that'll be on the 28th. And we'll also have all the sign-in sheets for the milkweed and monarch butterfly classes.
Absolutely. And we'll discuss...
We've got 4 scheduled already, and we're negotiating 2 more.
What are those 2 more?
Well, one of them is a city, the
Chavano Park one?
Chavano Park one, yeah. I'm trying to figure. We'll probably accommodate them, and we'll give these are award-winning 5th graders and middle school and elementary kids, and if they would love to have them involved in that monarch and milkweed class, so we're trying to figure out how we can get them some milkweed seed, and how we can get the data recorded. So that we're trying to work out that process. We may try the having a self-addressed envelope with a data sheet and see if we can get the kids, young people, after 3 months to complete the report. Did your seed grow?
Sure.
And how large is it?
Sounds
and
exciting.
Can we contact you in another year?
Yeah.
So that is one of, and then we also have a neighborhood in New Braunfels that is would like. I'm trying to talk them into participating in the New Braunfels class, but they of course would prefer to have a new one, and it's a large neighborhood, so they feel that they could fill the audience. And I can't hardly argue with them because if I don't know, you guys haven't attended the New Braunfels class ever.
No.
It's always huge. It's full.
All right. Well, we'll touch base on those classes when we get back. We're going to take a quick break with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Just another reminder that the South Texas Blood and Tissue is out here at Millburgers doing the blood drive with their bloodmobile. Walk-ins are welcome. They're out here from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. If you come on down, donate some blood, you'll get a 10% certificate as well as a T-shirt from South Texas Blood and Tissue, so come on down. Before we went to break, I know we were touching base on the milkweed and monarch classes that we're going to be hosting soon, correct?
Yeah, I was going to ask Mark. I was kind of, as I was looking at the plants to see what kind of damage the freeze had provided at my landscape, I was wondering Mark, how does that a freeze like that affect the shade trees? I mean, do the live oak leaves get affected at all? Do the
what we've seen in the past, it depends on where that particular tree species is from or was grown in. We had a caller a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, and I used the term provenance, and that's what we use when we talk about locale of certain species and trees. Back in the late 80s, we had a couple of freezes, and noticed certain oak trees, the quote hybrid. I got air quotes right now, everybody. Yeah, hybrid, which is not a hybrid. It's actually a selection of live oak from along the coast, probably around Beaumont. And those.
Wait a minute. I thought all oaks were hybrids.
Well, that's right. That's the air quote version on this. So, oaks, cover your ears out there. Oaks are a very promiscuous species, and they're always crossing all the time. It doesn't. A lot of times, it doesn't last, and that's how you have a species.
But they're not these varieties that are described as hybrids are not manipulated.
No, they are not. It is a marketing tool because a lot of people think, oh, hybrids must be better. So what we saw on these is they had an ornament. Well, you know what I mean. A large amount,
yes,
of foliage that just fell off, burnt. It burnt and fell off, and then they had like strips of bark that it died. It kind of died, and so there would be long pieces of dead bark, dead trunk, and then the trees would callus it over, and so you had these strips of live tissue and dead tissue along the trunk. So that was that's just a recent example of a tree that we do see if it's a severe freeze for a long period of time. So we always talk about that, not only temperature, but the amount of time below 32 degrees. And so if we have those, we'll see damage on species that don't belong here or are grown in a wetter, warmer climate. But if it is from here and is a native tree or an adapted tree, then you hardly see any kind of freeze effects on it. Boy, that was a long answer. You know, I like to talk, so you can stop me anytime.
No, I was just wondering. We have such a even in my neighborhood, like the Texas red oaks, those when individual trees drop their leaves is so different, even when they're just 100 feet apart.
Yeah. And age has something to do with it too. Brown leaves hanging on a tree is a symbol of youthfulness, is a characteristic of a young tree. And they generally lose that over time. Now, we don't want to see that brown leaves hanging on a branch and that branch is curved or slightly deformed, because that's gonna die, or that branch is already dead. And so we don't like to see that. But it is characteristic on red oaks. It is characteristic of young trees to retain their leaves for a long period of time. But it's also, you're right. Different red oaks will have their leaves come on and fall off at different times of the year, different ones. And it may be a matter of where they were grown. Again, this provenance.
And of course, a major species that are affected by the cold weather, the chill, like the peach trees.
Yeah, that's the other aspect of it.
But I always try to explain to people that 12 hours of very cold weather is not the same as a requirement for 300 hours of below 40 degrees, between 32 and 40 degrees. It's a much more sophisticated kind of a challenge that way. So, some people were kind of reacting to the cold, say, well, that means our peach trees should have enough cold.
Automatically. Right now, we're good. You're ready. No, not necessarily. I don't think we've reached it.
Oh, I don't think so either.
Just looking back, we were a couple of weeks ago. We were in the 70s in the afternoon. In the 70s while we were doing the show. It's. I don't think we've reached it. And hopefully, we have another couple of weeks, supposedly, for chilling time.
But you just mark my words here. When we will have folks, if it turns out the way Mark is describing, and I'm kind of with him on the prediction there, that then we'll have gardeners. They'll say, "I don't understand why you're saying I didn't have enough chill for my La Feliciana or anything," because we had that 2 weeks of cold weather, and then it'll be a matter of trying to explain that. That's a real difference. The number of hours and below 32, really, those hours don't always count even in the chill total. So it's not a real simple calculation. Nothing simple, which makes gardening fascinating, but complex.
I was going to say, a long time ago, I learned from you the word challenge. It's a challenge. There's wonderful challenges out there. Our opportunities, that's another one. So I'm like,
our Florida Kings might get enough from this.
Yes,
it might be relatively easy for them. But they a lot of those fruit trees really had a tough summer, especially if we tried to remind gardeners that you needed to water those trees in August and September, in fall and July, so that they're ready to take advantage of the spring. But we water fruit trees more frequently for two reasons. One, to keep them healthy during that period of time, but also good watering management works
great for the following year. That it's really intended for the following year. So the caveat, I always like to say, native trees, you don't have to water them but once a month. Well, I changed that for fruit trees. You really need to be on a good management program, either once or twice. Once a week minimum.
Where does pecan trees fall into this? The pecan trees? Where are they sitting with?
Where are they planted? Are they planted where they should be, natively, naturally? 50 to 250 feet from a permanent water source? Or are they located in shallower soil? So the shallower the soil, the more frequently you're going to have to water them.
Well, and then they went through, like my neighborhood is a great example. We don't have much for soil, and you really shouldn't have planted pecans, but there's pecans planted everywhere. But we really were reminded that it was not an appropriate place for pecans during this weather challenges the last 3 or 4 years, and a lot of them were weakened, I think, from the lack of water, and then devastated or a lot of branches killed by the cold weather that kind of caught them when they were vulnerable. So that'll be you probably, it's hard to predict what the response is going to be, but there probably will be a response. And it kind of this kind of weather kind of evens out takes action against those trees that are growing in places that they're not especially suited for. And Mark does a good job of reminding us of where, even some of the recommended trees that we have are not as prosperous in the whole region as they are in other parts of the regions. I always think of the bur oak. I always thought of them as pretty invincible, but they might do a pretty good job of surviving, but they're not always doing a good job of prospering.
Right. So I usually say, let's keep bur oaks on the east side of town. Actually, I make the dividing line of Nacogdoches, east of Nacogdoches. And on the west side, a little bit thinner soil, rockier soil. Let's try to use different species like chinkpin oak, Monterey oak, or AKA Mexican live oak, and live oak. Those species that are more traditionally found naturally in thin soils.
Well, the article today in the Express News, I like the article, but it's probably not the article I would have picked if in terms of the timing with the freeze and everything. We were talking about the lawn grass, and lawn grass has had a tough time. The erratic rainfall and drought restrictions have made it pretty tough. And another factor, which is both positive and negative, we've had a lot of years, a lot of neighborhoods have had years where the trees have filled in any space and grown a lot. Now, and some of the years in the past had enough rain that they did put a lot of growth on. The last 5 haven't been the greatest, but so you've got a kind of a challenge in terms of assessing why is my lawn doing well or not doing well. And, take your pick. Too much shade, too little water, drought restrictions. What else, Mark?
Those are the main ones. I was just thinking that most people go, well, it's a drought. It's a drought. Well, Calvin and I have learned over the years that we ask the question, well, how much shade do you have? Or does it get enough sunlight? Oh, yeah, it gets lots of sunlight. Well, and then we start asking a few more directed questions. And come to find out, well, it starts getting shade at about 2, or the other way around. It's morning shade until 2 or 2 or 4. So shade is usually my number one problem because it changes over time. That full sun lawn is now partially shaded by those trees you also planted.
Yeah.
Now I find that good. I'm a tree advocate. I'm not that grass. I mowed enough of that when I was a teenager, so I'm not.
What about our soil?
Not really worried about it.
What about soil compaction?
And I thought that was the best thing in your article, frankly, because I make a big deal about that all the time. Is folks, you really got to aerate, and at least every other year.
Every other year.
Yeah, it really makes a difference too. What we're talking about, the article emphasizes that one of the best things to do in February. Now, I always use February, but I think there's a debate on when the best time. It may be good any time.
Yeah, I think we just go early spring, late fall.
Yeah,
and just leave it at that.
Well, we got a couple of things. We're in a climate that that our soil is just one big compost pile. It decomposes. We don't accumulate. It's not like the north where you get freezing weather every winter so that the organic material accumulates. Here, and even when we have the coldest winters that we experience, most of the organic material that's produced in the growing season decomposes before the next growing season. In fact, it's almost an ongoing growing season and constant decomposition. So you are not getting a lot of organic production or compost. And so that's, and then the net result is that you get compacted soil because there's a lot less organic material in there. There's a lot less gas, efficient gas exchange, water circulation. All those factors are in there. And so one of the best efforts or one of the best operations is to aerate and top dress your lawn. And it's relatively easy to do that. You can hire it done. I don't know how the price has fluctuated, Neil. A few years ago, it was pretty reasonable. Yeah. Or you can do it yourself, relatively easy.
They even had a picture in the newspaper of somebody doing it manually with a foot cord.
Oh yeah, I don't. I hesitate about that.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Give us a call at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. Again, a reminder, South Texas Blood and Tissue is out here with their Bloodmobile doing a blood drive. They are out here until 3 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome. Right before we went to break, I know you were talking about aeration in your garden, and you said the best time to do that is in February?
Yeah. Calvin's working at his microphone
I'm trying
here.
That's better.
Better?
No, we're talking about aeration.
Turf.
And a lawn. And is really, really important. I think it is. That and the addition of organic matter. And that's what Calvin was talking about, is we really have a climate suited for the decomposition of organic matter. How about that way?
It's relatively easy compared to what it used to be to find a company one of the lawn maintenance companies will do it for you. Little harder to find an aerator now to rent.
Right. So,
yeah, the big box stores. I think of not every one of them, not every Home Depot or what's the other one? The
Lowe's.
Lowe's, yeah. Not every one has the equipment to rent, but a few do. And then there's
some other companies. I remember Blanco Rentals, and it was a company. It wasn't only on Blanco, but I don't know if they're still in existence.
Now it's really they've changed the particulars of the rental now, so you don't have to have It used to take you about half an hour to do your whole lawn, and you'd have to rent the darn thing for a whole day. But they are much more accommodating now. So, but one of the traditional ways to do it is you and a couple of neighbors share the aerator and go through and do the aeration. And they usually cut a plug, looks like a cigar. Cut them out and leave it on top of the ground, and then you put a half an inch of compost, and
not directly in the hole. You just over the whole area.
Yeah. Now some of it always filters into the hole, and that's a positive impact. Always amazes me that infiltration, the hole, the aeration, and then the compost following it makes it easier for water movement, but it also makes it better for water holding. Mm-hmm. It can be both. It almost seems like it'd be a contradiction, but it isn't. It works really slick. And then that gas exchange is pretty big. We're talking about a plant down there, a root system that always, they're producing. Using nutrients and producing new plant parts, but there's a gas exchange that's been evolved, and if the gas can move out of the soil, it's much better for the growth rate. So that whole process. Now, one of the questions that I mentioned this in the article too is Mark, what do you think about the sand plus compost versus all compost?
Yeah, I think you iterated that or implied that on in the article. I'm not a big fan. Sand with our clay soil seems to set up like caliche clay or bricks. And I think just the organic matter is good. Now a little bit of sand is not a problem. Yeah. And we usually use it for kind of leveling purposes. If there's low places, we'll take some sand and some compost mixture.
And I'm thinking that I think it's relatively easy to when you compare all compost versus a proportion that is sand, that you're getting more of the impact that you're after with all the compost, unless you've got that leveling. There are some situations where you've got kind of low spots where the sand makes a difference because it's a permanent. Compost decomposes. Mm-hmm. Sand doesn't, but sand also does not contribute to all those processes we're talking about as much as the compost does.
Sand is pretty inert, and it provides as many of the nutrients as rocks do.
What do they call? They call that mix. Is it top dress mix?
Yeah, it's top dressing. Yeah. I was sitting here thinking about what did we call that? What did we call that? No, it's top dressing.
And I think the price is basically the same, so you can get it all compost, or and then I used to say that spreading the compost was one of the best daydream jobs around, because you don't have to be fussy about how deep it is, and it's not heavy, good exercise. And you don't have to rush and do it. So that is a good process It's so good for your lawn. Environmentally, it contributes so much to the situation. And then it's relatively easy to do and relatively inexpensive to do it too. And if you're interested in a top-producing lawn, and in our soil situation, just like Mark emphasized, you almost have to do it to have a prosperous lawn, one that's capable of responding or dealing with the changes in moisture that we have, the weather changes, the heat. All those are challenges. And the lawn does better if those challenges are met by aeration and top dressing. Mm-hmm. Now you can get the compost if you got a pickup truck. You can get a load in the back of your pickup truck, or they'll deliver it for you. It goes a long way. Yeah,
and there are bags of compost. Now, it may not be efficient financially. If you had the big truck or somebody bring a whole lot, that may, per unit, that may be cheaper, but the bags are nice. Now, this is what that Trace used to do. I think he used to cut it on the ends, and he had several bags, and then make several rows. Yeah. He just pulled it back, and then he used the iron rake to pull it back and forth.
And I think the typical bag covers about, if you do a half-inch, covers about 65 square feet. So, you don't need a lot of bags.
I chuckled at your comment in there, if my math is correct. And I had to do all that kind of stuff for saws. I had on our coupons, did
you check my math?
No, I didn't want to check your math, but I remember it was 27 cubic feet.
Per bag?
No, for the coupon. For 200-foot square area or something like that. So that just came in my mind.
Yeah, that's a cubic yard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the way I did that, and it broke it down real easy.
Now, if it's a cubic yard of compost, most full-size pickup trucks can handle that.
1 yard, yep.
Yeah. If that's a lot. Let's see, that bag is 1.5 cubic feet. So
I know. So I had it on the bag. It was 10, cubic feet, and 15. So then I had to get it to a cubic yard, and
So it's a relatively easy process, and I'll never, of course, Dr. Parsons was always enthusiastic about any kind of successful gardening topic, but it took him a while to get enthusiastic about aeration and top dressing until Malcolm Beck.
Yeah.
One time, they would have these little discussion and argument. Maybe it's overstating it, but Jerry just kind of blew it off, this top dressing, until Malcolm had a truckload delivered on his lawn and just put on his lawn.
Oh, man. All right. We got one more hour in our show. We're going to be right back with Millburgers Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
We're back with Milberger's Gardening South Texas, live from Milberger's Landscaping and Nursery at 1604 in Bulverde Road. Come out to visit or call us at 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. And now back to Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 930 AM The Answer.
Welcome back to Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 930 AM The Answer. This is Alex Escobar with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 210-308-8867. Better yet, we'd love to see you here, especially with the South Texas Blood and Tissue having their blood drive with their bloodmobile here. They're going to be out here until 3 p.m. today. If you come out and donate, you will receive a South Texas t-shirt as well as a 10% or 10. Let me get that right.
$10 gift certificate.
$10 gift certificate to Milberger's. So please come on out.
Well, you don't. You just have to make an attempt to apply.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the situation has changed a bit. A few years ago, it was the COVID, and before that, even it was much harder to give blood because of there was a lot of questions and uncertainties. But I think it's
you were banned.
Simplified.
You were banned for a while.
Yeah, because of travel. Because my wife was from South Africa, and we were into birding, and so we traveled. So that was a limitation. Now,
Botswana and Zambia, South
and
Africa.
if you take, it's still a challenge if you have a lot of medications, I think, but it's much less than it was. So it's worthwhile for you to explore it because it's important. It's an important donation. All you have to do is experience somebody in your family or a close friend, neighbor, where they have an emergency where they need blood. And you have to mobilize everybody to get that blood they need right at that point.
Right then and there, yeah.
And so it kind of says, well, gosh, we may still have to mobilize from time to time, but it also reminds us how important it is to do it on a regular basis to provide that blood. So if you got the time and the inclination, even if you were rejected in past because of travel or something, explore it again. And you get your gift certificate and make a visit to Milberger's. But also you can you may be at this point you may be able to donate, and in the past you weren't able to. They're also taking different kind of. They've got a lot more flexibility in terms of the blood collection types.
Of different of the ABs and the negatives or the O's?
No, they got all that's the same. But I was trying to think that they starts with the platelets and things like that.
Oh yeah, so the platelets and the plasma. The everything is important now.
Absolutely, it is.
Whole blood, platelets, plasma, everything is needed and
then
can be used.
Yeah, and they're much more certain about which are issues that prevent the value of the blood that a particular person can donate, and what isn't what they thought used to be an issue, which is not necessarily one now. So, take the opportunity to give it a try, especially if you got maybe you got a Christmas gift or a gift certificate from Christmas, and come by Milberger's today or the next time the blood's here and blood's collection's here, and try it. See if you can get back in the formula, back in the process. That 100%. was my blood lecture there.
Yes. But please come on out if you're able to, but also give us a call at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. As per your article, is there anything else that that maybe you want to touch base on, or anything that maybe Mark wants to shine on?
Yeah, it covers a lot of things that we like to mention here on the radio show about aeration, the organic matter, and the importance of well-defined water management. So, water wisely, you have written in there. We are under drought restrictions, and will be for the foreseeable future. I don't see us moving out of drought stages for a very long time.
Yeah, we have to. Now, of course, we've had this discussion quite often, but participate, follow the rules that your community has, and to be most comfortable with the rules, participate in the creation of the rules. Make sure that the rules treat everybody fairly. Make sure that the rules actually accomplish the protections that you need for your water sources, and also, if with everybody participating, with fair rules and necessary rules, usually you can still get some great gardening done, and you can accomplish. The San Antonio water system is a great example of population growing in San Antonio for years, but still we don't use any more water than we used to do it. And
right.
So that's just we can all be proud of that, but we got to keep at it. And it would be nice if we got some rain.
So a lot of people, they think, these water restrictions are just pulled from the air by bureaucrats. Actually not. The SAWS official, which Calvin and I used to be ones, we work closely with the green industry, both landscapers and irrigators, and trying to develop these restrictions that will offer some benefit to the landscape, but also reduce the amount of water being used.
We need one of our other compadres that's participated and played a big role through the successful water conservation is Karen Guz. She just retired.
No, she took your place when you went into Oklahoma.
She did in about 3 different jobs there through the years.
She started for you.
Yeah, she was a master gardener, and went through the class, and then got hired as a technician in the master gardener process. Ended up as the agent in the extension service for 4-H. And then came to work in the conservation department, and ended up as the vice president of water conservation at the San Antonio water system, and retired after a lot of years of wonderful service. So, I don't know who the new person is yet, but
so I used to work with Martha quite extensively. Martha was in the information.
Who is it?
Martha Wright is
Martha
her name.
Wright?
And so she and I worked on several projects that dealt with numbers and equations.
Well, welcome, Martha.
So I really like Martha, and we just had a San Antonio Irrigation Association meeting this past week, where Martha came by and introduced herself to all the irrigators. And then Nathan went over, and Nathan Riggs, and we went over all the new regulations and everything. There was a lot of consternation about the 4 inches of soil beneath turf, and it was going on because a lot of times the irrigators don't have anything to do with the landscape material and everything but SAWS has to sign off on the regulation. This has been a ordinance since 2004, but rarely enforced, if ever.
Well, and it's not 4 inches is not enough, but
No.
4 inches better than none.
That's what was negotiated with Saws and the builders in the city of San Antonio.
I happen to know I was involved in that.
You were in there.
but when both Mark and I participated in the research that came afterwards, and if we had the research, 6 inches of soil really makes a big difference.
Right.
That really produces a good lawn and conserves water. 4 inch does better than 2 inches, but 6 inches is a key. So that if we had it to do over, that 6 inches is what we require for a lawn. Yeah, but at this point we don't.
Yeah.
But if gardeners get involved, keep involved, and maybe at some point the new lawns or new houses will have to have 6 inches of soil under lawns.
And I made the point, I raised my hand, I said, Nathan, just a clarification, that's 4 inches beneath turf. It doesn't have to be in the beds, just the turf. And then there's some mumbling around me, and I said, well, of course, you don't have to have turf. There's not a requirement. In fact, it's in the city ordinance. You don't have to have any turf or irrigation for that turf. It's section, by the way, everyone, it's section 34-275, subsection 8 and B, A and B. Or they can call me later and get it. So when the HOA tells you one thing, well, you just going to say, well, I listen to K-Loop. I listen to the Millburgers Gardening Show, and they told me I don't have to do that.
As long as you're in that kind of a mood.
Hey, I didn't want to talk about Neil.
I noticed you were reviewing Neil Sperry's article here. And Neil is quite often we've worked with him, and we're quite often in tune with what he recommends. Although he's got, he's.
I do remember 25 years ago, Neil turning to me at a meeting, going, Mark, you should be on the radio. And here I am.
Here you are.
So I love Neil for that, but a few times I just shake my head and go. So in this morning's articles, if you wanted to go down and read Calvin's article and then drop down and read some of Neil's readers sent in, I had one particular one. It says, a reader sends in a question, what plant, preferably native to Texas, would you suggest in a west-facing area of my backyard that gets brutal sunshine in the afternoon? I like to have flowers. I've tried to plant azaleas twice. Oh, heavy sigh. Azaleas. But they burn up each time. Yep. The area is rectangular and 6-foot fence line, and the bed is 10 by 3 feet. So very, very, very common. Well, Neil had made some suggestions, and then he also said some hollies, and I just rolled my eyes. He loves hollies, so as well as I do. But then I just looked at Calvin and I go, there's so many choices that I would have given. My famous four, Esperanza, Pride of Barbados, Firebush, Cenizo, right there. That's four great good ones. And then Calvin had a suggestion as well. I really like it.
I kind of, being a horticulturist, I kind of hung on they were looking for a plant in bloom. And then I just was thinking how much I appreciated those tough modern roses.
Yeah,
and I thought, well, they can survive in that tough soil situation in that full sun.
Well, it had some prepared bed, but the sun was on a west-facing sun. You're absolutely right. Oh, there's what's that? Carefree Beauty you like?
Yeah, that's wonderful. Mrs. Dudley Cross.
That's one of my favorites.
Great one, yeah. Even Belinda's Dream, Grandma's Yellow.
What's that one that's really popular?
A big one or?
No, a small one.
Martha Gonzalez?
No, these are all our favorites.
Oh.
The one that the pink and the red one that everyone loves. Oh,
Gosh, it's tough to work, Alex. It's tough to work with old people, isn't it? They forget all the time. But lots.
Anyway, all those would be really good on that side. And I just Neil.
Those tough modern roses, or a lot of them are heirloom roses that we mentioned. They bloom some years 8, 9 months, and they're drought tolerant. You don't have you can prune them if you want, but you don't have to prune them, and they're not really subject to. They get invaded by some pests, but never seems to be very permanent or disables them. They just keep performing.
Yeah, so I thought those some good suggestions. We had what 4 or 5. Oh, I added lantana as well. And I'm like, there's 5 or 6 different choices that. Again, I hung on with the flowers.
Yeah.
I said, so she wanted to sell this. So much flowers.
And then even like Salvia Gregii was not.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good
another
one too.
that would work well. Now we've criticized a single answer that Neil has here, but also we want to remind everybody that one of the best resources around for general gardening, and we listed it in the number 1 place in the suggested holiday presents, was Neil Sperry's guideline.
Texas gardening.
Yeah, he does a great job.
You need Texas gardening, and then Dr. Sam Kotner's vegetable book, and right there you're covered. You're both vegetables and gardening.
What about
there's some
what
others.
about Wasowski's native plant garden? And
native plants by region. That's a good one.
How about the one on the old-fashioned roses and
some other friends of ours. I'm stalling for time.
No,
the perennial garden is Dr.
That's it.
No, it's the perennial color garden. Dr. He's a good friend of ours.
Yes, he is, and he's wonderful. Oh, and he wrote a couple of books with Greg
Yes,
Grant.
Yeah, right. So then that's the other one. We really love Greg Grant book, Texas Regional Gardening.
Yeah,
48 great ideas for landscape.
Well,
plants.
if you are interested, go back and find that. About a month before Christmas, we did the article we did. We listed a lot of wonderful books to consider for a gift for your gardener, and they're still great topics, and I think you can find them on the internet for the San Antonio Express News.
See, I always get mixed up. Is it Welsh or Welsh?
Bill Welch, yeah.
But remember Doug was a former. Because he talked like that.
I think it's CH because I think Doug Welch was SC.
Yeah, or is it the other way around? Yeah. I don't know. One is Welsh, one is Welch. But Doug Welch was a former county agent here.
Yeah.
But he talked like that.
Oh
yeah. But we love Doug, so he's somewhere in the A&M system now, doing well. But that was just something again, and I read Neil and I read Calvin first, and then I read Neil, and just sometimes I go, "Oh, that's a great answer," and then sometimes I just shake my head and go, "Heavy sigh, heavy sigh."
Well, I know that all the other authors and horticulturists have the same experience
with me,
with all of us.
Okay,
yeah, with all of us that are providing information because you're not every one of your opinions is always the best opinion.
Well, and
there's room for, and that's half the fun is is kind of discussing and deciding on which is the best route to go in a particular
So
problem.
I'm going to be the tree advocate, and other people want to be the lawn advocate.
Yes.
As in my good friend David Rodriguez. He started out in doing turf at Wills, and so he always likes grass. I'm like, grass just gets in the way of my tree health.
Well, absolutely.
Those darn trees, they fall on you, too, though.
They do. Well, we're going to be right back with Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Millburgers Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. 210-308-8867. We have Robert on the line. Robert, you're talking about raising some lavender. How are we doing today?
I don't hear Robert.
Robert,
Doing
are you
a-
there?
Oh, there we
There
go.
we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
What's up?
Okay. So I am thinking about raising a lavender ranch, but I want to know a second crop that's equally as lucrative or close to being as lucrative. The only ones I can think of would be either gardenia or hemp.
What?
Well, gardenia require acidic soil.
Acid soil, yep.
Yeah. So, do you have acidic soils? Acid soils? No.
I don't think it is. So I'll have to look for an alternative. What's a good other choice?
So,
Yeah. How come you pick such hard plants?
yeah.
Well, lavender pretty much grows on its own. It doesn't need a lot of water. It's a perennial, so you don't have to plant it every year. And
Where does lavender grow on its own? In the Mediterranean, maybe.
Yeah. So, it's a
yeah,
little
but
hard.
I live in North Far San Antonio, so I'm close enough to Blanco to have the same climate.
Okay, so Blancos is famous for their lavender festivals,
Right.
But it is difficult to grow. The part of the problem is our roller coaster weathers that
sure.
we experienced this past year: hot, cold, dry, etc. So it's not just maintenance free. You're going to have to do a little maintenance on it.
Yeah.
But other stuff, well, I was going to be a little facetious. Going, the best crop is alfalfa, growing hay, I guess, Bermuda hay.
Okay, so alfalfa
selling
and
hay,
Bermuda are the most lucrative?
Well, no, hay is if it's all nice and level. Yeah, hay is still probably the most lucrative farm product. But if you wanted to go with things like lavender, I'm trying to think of other cash crops that.
How strong is the hemp market right now?
Well, the problem is the government in Austin. So I couldn't advise anybody to do hemp. Hemp is a great plant. Hemp, you can make clothes, rope, paper. I don't know.
Oh, I know. It's universal.
100 different things. Yeah, 100 different things. It's just.
Well, make sure though if you consider go further on the lavender that you do some checking, because there have been some pretty good farmers that have tried lavender and have not been successful. Right. So it's not the easiest thing to grow in our area. But maybe there at Blanco it's a little
right. And so I know that they tend to have more neutral soil in the Blanco area.
They want it sandy.
Yeah, famously they can grow the Blanco crabapple. Is native to that area. It's only native to that area. So I know they have neutral, maybe granite base, just like out of Fredericksburg. So that's what you want. You want something close to that. If you have like the Redland soil, like I have my old place up on Redland in 1604, that kind of reddish. So that's the best. But
cool.
I do, as Calvin said, do some research on that. And then talk around. There's a lot of people who are interested in hemp. Particularly, hey, just talk to the TDA, Department of Agriculture, TDA. We're really into it, but there may be some concerns with Austin and people don't understanding that hemp is not the same thing as THC.
It's not. No, it's completely two different plants. Yeah.
Anyway,
sounds good. Good luck.
Yeah. So I would encourage you. Good luck. I'm kind of stumped right now on what we can grow in the near hill country that would be profitable.
Right, and on the sides of the farm, I'm gonna put a bunch of beehives. Basically, beehives.
Yeah, that did come to mind. I didn't want to mention it because that's going to be a lot of maintenance on that. But I strongly encourage anybody in the hill country to look into apiary.
Apiary? Yeah. Yeah, because Monsanto's been killing them off.
All right.
Appreciate it, Robert.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, love to hear your research and what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to find out which variety produces the most fragrant oil that perfume companies want or desire.
I better not be too critical of lavender growth, because you know who was somebody that was very successful. He only had a small garden of it, but our weatherman Steve Brown had a patch of lavender that I could never figure out how it survived and looked so good all the time.
So on that note, I forgot I was going to address it and then got off on another subject. Okay, so you have English, French, and Egyptian lavenders. So look at all of those and what the experience is on growing all of those. And then on the French, I think there's two different kinds as well.
Yeah, and for the winter, I was going to probably do some Quonset hut frames with balsa wood or whatever is stronger, and then drape plastic sheeting over it. Maybe use that clear black cloth that you also can use to adjust the temperature. And then I'll have some heat sources within the Quonset hut and run it the length of the row.
So that's all great ideas. And I didn't know that the temperatures in Texas are roller coaster, we like to say, erratic as they are. So good luck.
All
Thanks for your advice, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robert. Good luck. 210-308-8867. Tom, we have Tom on the line. You have a question about wrapping plants. How are we doing today?
Doing great, thanks. Hey, I had a question. I've got some citrus trees, some mandarin oranges in the backyard and a grapefruit tree, and I had been wrapping them, of course, and then on the nights that it got really cold, down into the lower or mid 20s, I put a light bulb in, just probably 100-watt standard incandescent bulb, just to add some heat. And on one of the trees, I put a spotlight in because that was what's in the little lamp thing that I had. Mm-hmm. And it looks like, and then for the most part, when it was warm, I didn't take the covering off of them completely, but I tried to open them up so they could breathe a little bit, get some fresh air in. But I noticed one of them was kind of the air in where the tree was kind of inside the wrap was kind of warm, and now it looks like the leaves almost look like they're dried. And I thought, I don't know if it just got too hot in there, or I don't know how much heat a 100-watt bulb puts out. It's not enough to even to notice in the house usually. But actually, that was the tree with the floodlight, and I have no idea what. So I guess I'm curious: is there do y'all recommend a certain wattage, or I know you've talked about incandescent bulbs which put off some heat as opposed to LED. and I didn't know if there was a standard that you might say would be, or something you would recommend from a wattage standpoint. Is it just a 100-watt bulb?
You know, I just never suspect that it's the heat source, that the damage from the cold. There's no chance that the cold penetrated. Did the wind lift up that particular covering or anything?
It was on there pretty well.
It wasn't. There's no chance that it was cold damage rather than just the heat damage.
I don't think so. Yeah, it just looks like it's. I mean, I've got some other plants that may have had a little bit of cold damage, but mostly stayed fine. This tree, it just looks like most of the tree got it, and it was probably one of the trees that was covered the best or the most thoroughly. And I've got it all, and it's weighted down at the base, to the ground, and it's all either alligator clipped or clothespin clipped at where they come together and things of that nature. And when I went out there after the cold nights, the covering was still intact. So I didn't know, is this something that watering right now might be a good idea, more so than I'd watered before the last week's cold, but I just didn't know if there's anything I could do to mitigate or help the tree.
No, the water probably is not a factor, but just give it some time. I would be, I would be patient with it. Now, I've never had that problem. I just use mechanics lights that are old-fashioned, not LED.
But they're pretty potent. And that's why on that floodlight, it's probably more. The workman's light probably more akin to that floodlight. So I was initially like Calvin. I'm like, I was wondering if the cold air got in there, particularly a breeze.
I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think so, because what happened, I had this white freeze cloth on there. And maybe that was it. I put green. I bought, Costco was selling a green freeze cloth, and this is actually like a 10-foot tree, and I got it completely covered. It may have been covered in both of them for part of the. I'm not at the entire tree, because I wouldn't have covered this second time if I thought the first covering was adequate. But anyhow, if there was a layered effect and it just held in more heat, that might have been what was affecting it. I'm not sure.
I would, I think I'd be patient with it, and I just kind of suspect that if it is the heat damage, that you're not going to have as severe as you would from the cold. But
okay.
I've never experienced that, so. But I'd be real interested to see how it does turn out.
Okay. Well, I can call back in the spring when things start blooming.
No. Now, if they are burnt or darker green, then they'll probably fall off.
They're falling off right now.
Yeah. Don't worry too much about it. We'll assess in March the damage, and because that's when we're going to make suggestions on the fertilizer at that point in time. So
I did have some freeze damage last year on this tree because it's most exposed, where some of the others are protected by the house and the fencing and stuff. And I had some branches that had no leaves on them up near the top, and I think that was freeze damage. And I was concerned, and as you're saying, as spring came on, the leaves filled out, and there was no issues, of course. Yeah. So the freeze may have been enough to hit the foliage, but it wasn't enough to hurt the tree a whole lot.
Right.
Although it's one of my bigger trees, and it's one of the fewer producers. I mean, I was called the variety was Bumper. It was supposed to be a prolific producer, and it turned out to be one of the least producing trees I had. One more question.
I had good luck with Bumper, but mine was taken out by a freeze too a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's after the 21 freeze is when I planted these all in 22, and I've been covering them when I need to. And Most of them are doing pretty well. I had a question, though. One of them I noticed when I planted it, this was just one of those mental thoughts, one of them was root bound. And I didn't think about it at the time, and I've since heard y'all talk about root bound trees, and you need to cut some of the roots off. This is 3.5 years ago now that it went into the ground, and it's almost like a dwarf tree. I mean, it's probably 3 feet tall. The rest of them are 6 or 7 feet tall, but I planted at the same time. What would you recommend for this root bound tree now? Can I do anything to promote growth? Or, and I'm thinking like digging in the side of the tree and kind of cutting some of the roots a little bit to try to open that up, or is it too late?
I don't think that hurt if you do that.
Yeah.
I think you might do that, because I don't think it's not a dwarf variety. We hear at Milberger's we got some of these new dwarf varieties now that just whatever situation they're in, they won't grow the same size as the ones we expect. But I think that's one of the strategies we take when we have root bound, is just release some of those roots to kind of turn them loose, and they quite often they'll respond. But then I don't think it hurt anything.
Yeah. In an ideal, I was going to say, in an ideal world, you'd bring somebody in who has an air spade, and you would expose 6 to 8 inches of root, and then look to cut whichever ones are girdling. But that's in an ideal world.
Yeah, I've got space on the side of each, both two or three sides of that tree, the other side of the fence, that I could, dig down, come out a couple of feet, dig down till I get to some root coming in from the side, and but how do I assume it's still root bound, somewhat, but how do you determine how much or what to cut?
Anything going straight out would be that's the ones you would want to do.
Really?
Or leave, encourage.
Okay, yeah. All right, so the ones that are circling, when I put it in the ground, I just remembered saying this, it's like the roots are all circling the pot, of course, on the inside, and I should have cut, but those are the ones that need to be cut, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, you don't be careful or remorseful. Go ahead and cut. Yeah. Cut.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Gosh, yeah, you've got some great research there. I hope you keep us informed on both of those issues.
Absolutely, Tom.
Meticulous notes.
Yeah, because those are both really interesting topics, and they can be important topics in the long term.
Well, I appreciate y'all's help on that.
Thank you so much.
That brings up I ordered some white frost cloth online, and I got it, and it's the stuff is like tissue paper thin, of course. Wrapped a couple of plants with it, but I had this green stuff that Costco was selling that's much thicker. Is there a recommendation? Have you found that the white cloth do you prefer one over the other? Or
I like that insulate. I just was really happy with its performance on my cyclamen. It is a little heavier. It's also easier to pin it down and with the wind,
right?
Because it's got a little more structure to it.
So it's woven, and that's why I like it. But it's insulate, and we have it here in boxes and then rolls, and you cut. We can cut you to whatever length you wanted, but always add a few extra feet on the end.
Oh yeah, to weigh it down at the ground level.
We appreciate your call, Tom. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, we're going to take one last break.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Right.
Welcome back to Milberger's Gardening South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. 210-308-8867. We have James on the line. James, I know it's been a cold time, but how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. My landscape, not so much.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Yeah, it got, due to my locale, it got quite cold here, colder than in San Antonio.
Yes.
And my orange frost has got the same issues as the previous caller, although I didn't put a heat source in there. It looks like it may be toast. Only time will tell. But which really surprised me, my Crawford lettuce looks like it's barely alive, mushy, which surprised me. My onions look the same, and that's what I'm really concerned about. The onions, the tops are brown, and I haven't checked the bulbs, but do you think they're gonna regrow new green tops, or how do I determine that? Only time, or should I pull them out? Is it too late to replant?
Well, no, it's not too late to replant, but I would not pull them out. You might want to have as insurance. You might want to hedge by planting some new ones because it's still you got some time. Now mine, it bothered me a little bit that you mentioned they turned brown because mine kind of flopped over, not like they do when they're mature, but I didn't see any browning on any of them, so I'm expecting mine to come back. And the Crawford lettuce looked kind of like the pansies did, they kind of flattened out and some damage, but I expect them all to produce too. How big were your Crawford lettuce?
They were big plants. They sprouted early. They were volunteers. They come up everywhere. Even the ones in the ground off the edge of the patio, half of them look like they got burnt back really hard too. Yeah, and some of them don't look as bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll get some of those coming back for sure. The ones that
should I cut them? Should I cut them down at the base and let them re-leaf out, or is that a bad idea? The ones that look real bad.
Yeah, you could experiment with that because I think you're going to have some that are late sprouters from the seed. You're going to have leave some that are showing in some green because they're going to recover, and then experiment with some of the. I think you're going to have success even by cutting some of those back. But if the ones that have mine are not as far along as yours are, so mine that were close to the soil or in. I've got some of them in containers, big containers. And the plastic lip around it and the soil there seemed to have enough heat that it protected them. So I expect they'll do fine. They look like flattened like the pansies, and I expect them to perk up just like the pansies do usually. But I think that would be interesting, and I don't think in the long run you'd lose much there if you experimented with that. It'd be great.
Okay,
to have that
I think
knowledge.
what I'll do is I'll because this isn't a container, the ones that got burnt back like a half whiskey barrel, and I think I'm going to cut all those down and just see what comes back. And the ones in the ground, there's some that look okay; they'll be fine. So I'll have some backup plants. But the onions really are concerning me. I didn't expect them to freeze, but they did. So on another note, my Meyer lemon that I brought inside, it's been inside for, it's going to be 10 days now, and I'm worried about it not having enough sunlight. You think after tonight I can take it out for an period of time? Looking at the weather, I think it's going to warm up some.
Yeah, I think you can. I kind of jumped the gun on my stuff, and then I had to move it back and move the covers back on it, but... go ahead.
I'm kind of concerned about the Meyer lemon because I'm looking at it now indoors where it doesn't get a lot of light. It's dropping a lot of leaves, and because there's heat in here, and I guess it's not liking the heat as much or the dryness. I'm not quite sure. So I want to get it out as soon as possible before it drops too much more leaves. So, okay, I think I'll take it out again. Hopefully won't have to pull it back in, but if I do, I do.
Yeah, I think the timing is right on that.
The butterfly
I got
vine.
porterweed that's I expect that's in a greenhouse with the heat, and it's kind of dropped the leaves. But the good news to me is that the stems still look like they're alive, and there's a few little leaves everywhere. So I'm thinking that I expect it to kind of retreat for the winter, but to come back to green up in the spring. I hope. But I think that's Lulu, the monarch teacher. She manages to keep her porterweed alive every year, and I never have until this year. So I'm trying to follow her example and go ahead and do that. But yeah, that would be great. And then James, you can let all of us know how that experiment works.
And you were mentioning your butterfly weed or butterfly.
Yeah,
vine.
the three they've not been in the ground a year yet. They look like they burnt almost. When I say burnt, froze almost all the way to the ground. Chances that they're going to come back from the roots?
No, 100%.
Yes or no, 100%?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, they are going to?
Yeah.
I think they will too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Just on a note is, I have a bunch of lantana and dwarf. What is that? Fire. It's fire something. A dwarf Esperanza, and it's all froze back. All it needs is for me to prune it, to get out there and prune it down. But I won't do it for another month. You
know what surprised me? I don't know why this surprised me, but the plumbago, all the foliage, all. I didn't look to see how the stems were, but I suspect most of the stems are frozen back too.
And we don't have our indicator plants in front of us because we're indoors, and most of the plumbago has been packaged away or in the greenhouse.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I appreciate the advice. Hope it warms up.
All right.
So, thank you, James.
Appreciate it for the information, James. Thanks.
All right, we're inside maybe 2 minutes left. Just a couple of reminders that the blood drive here at Millburgers is still going on till 3 o'clock today. Walk-ins are still welcome. If you come out, try and donate or see if you're able to. You will receive a T-shirt as well as a $10 certificate to Millburgers. We also have next month, well, starting tomorrow is next month, but February 21st, the rodeo tomato class here at Millburgers. I know that class is filled up, correct? Or it's sitting at 37.
But you still attend the lecture.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's you don't have to register, but I would go ahead and register, and then the chances are pretty good that we'll try to find you a potted up tomato.
Yes, to sign up for the Millburgers class, the number is 210-497-3760. That event is on February 21st. The class the following week is on the 28th. That's at the Education Resource Center. The number to sign up for that class, 210-382-4455.
And we still have quite a few seats available there, so go ahead and sign up for that. It's over there by the medical center, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we got one more night of
and tomorrow,
yes.
Well, our article next week is going to talk a lot about monarchs and milkweeds and talk about all those classes that we've got scheduled.
They're starting
after the rodeo tomato classes.
Starting up in March, I believe, correct?
Yeah,
those classes?
March and April and even into early May.
Sounds exciting. Can't wait to hear about it, and we're looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you for joining us at Millburgers Gardening, South Texas on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Alex Escobar here with Dr. Calvin Finch and Mark Peterson. We will see you tomorrow.
Oh, Mark didn't talk about us.
Oh.